Hi you guys, today I'm going to work on a mediumistic tarot reading with Josephine Baker. And I'm going to be using a Spanish deck. And it's, let me just grab that. Of course I set the box down. It's beautiful. It has this, here's the box. And I may not pronounce this correctly, but I'm going to try. Tarot de CARLOTYDES. CARLOTYDES. All right, CARLOTYDES. CARLOTYDES. I don't know. Anyway, that's about as close as I'm going to get. This deck is in a different, it's in different languages. The booklet comes in English, of course, Spanish, French, Dutch, German, Deutsch, and Portuguese. Okay, so just to share some things about Josephine Baker, here's the card deck I'm going to be using. She was born Frida Josephine MacDonald and became a naturalized French citizen, I believe, Josephine Baker, the 3rd of June, 1906, until the 12th of April, 1975, where she naturalized it Josephine Baker. Okay. So her birthday was apparently June 3rd, and she passed away in 1975 on the 12th of April. American-born French entertainer. She was a French resistance agent and a civil rights activist. She was so beautiful. And I will be, of course, using many photos here that are accompanying this. So she was quite a woman and quite ahead of her time. She was the first black woman to star in a major motion picture, the 1927 silent film Siren of the Tropics, directed by Mario Nalpas and Henri Etevon. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not. During her early career, she was one of the most celebrated performers to headline the reviews of the Folie Bergère in Paris. Her performance in the review Un Vent de Folie in 1927 caused sensation in the city. Her costume consisted of only a short skirt of artificial bananas, a beaded necklace, and it became a very iconic image and a symbol of both the Jazz Age and the Roaring '20s. So she was a celebrated artist, especially by intellectuals, and one of the most celebrated performers to headline in Paris. So they named her the Black Venus, the Black Pearl, the Bronze Venus, and the Creole Goddess. She was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and she renounced her U.S. citizenship and became a French national after her marriage to French industrialist Jean Lyon in 1937, and she raised her children in France. And a bit more, she aided in the French resistance during World War II. After the war, she was awarded the Resistance Medal by French Committee of National Liberation. The cross of war, which is what it roughly translates to. Croix de guerre. Again, my French, not exactly a strong point here. By the French military, and was named a Chevalier of the Légion d'honneur by General Charles de Gaulle. Baker saying, "I have two loves, my country and Paris." Baker refused to perform to segregated audiences in the United States, and is noted for her contributions to the civil rights movement. In 1968, she was offered unofficial leadership in the movement in the United States by Coretta Scott King following Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. After thinking it over, Baker declined the offer out of concern for the welfare of her children. On August 23, 2021, it was announced that in November 2021 she will be interred in the Pantheon in Paris, the first black woman to receive one of the highest honors in France. Yes, so she was born June 3rd, 1906 in St. Louis, Missouri, as, again, Frida Josephine McDonald. Her mother, Carrie, was adopted in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1886 by Richard and Elvira McDonald, both of whom were former slaves of African and indigenous Native American, quote-unquote, indigenous descent. So I didn't know that about her, that she also was had indigenous blood. Baker's estate and some other sources identify vaudeville drummer Eddie Carson as her natural father, while other sources dispute this. Baker's foster son, Jean-Claude Baker, wrote a biography published in 1993 called Josephine, The Hungry Heart, in which he discusses at length the circumstances surrounding her birth based on his research, concluding that Frida's father was white and that Frida knew Carson was not her father. Okay. So you can look into more of that. She had difficulty in establishing the truth of her early life, given the factual and counterfactual reworkings of numerous biographers. And this is according to academic Benetta Jules Rosette, who wrote Josephine Baker in Art and Life, The Icon and the Image, 2007. So there's little known exactly to bear out these things, but she grew up on Targhee Street, known in St. Louis residents as Johnson Street, known by some St. Louis residents as Johnson Street, in the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood of St. Louis, which was a racially mixed low-income neighborhood near Union Station, consisting mainly of rooming houses, brothels, and apartments without indoor plumbing. She was poorly dressed and hungry as a child, but she developed street smarts playing in the railroad yards of Union Station. And I will include her wiki link. I will be using this deck and just seeing what she wishes to share, whatever her message is. Okay, so I think I shuffled this deck really well, and we shall begin. And I'll just use a Celtic cross. Again, I've asked the Most High and my ancestors, my spiritual mentors, to assist me to read accurately and clearly as possible, to share Josephine's message, whatever it is that she wants to share. This is her moment. And I hope to relate that with accuracy. And, well, let's just get started. The first card we're drawing is the Four of Wands, and she's talking about society. She's talking about the public. And I think entertaining, of course, the public as well. So she's bringing up public and society. I'm sure she has some thoughts about what's going on today. We have quite an intense, extreme time that we're living through. Also, okay, what is crossing as a challenge that she's bringing up was the lovers. Okay, that's interesting. So I think she's indicating an issue that many entertainers face, which is their career as a public person and trying to have private lives, trying to have love relationships that last can be difficult because you're very committed to career and to the public a great deal. And I think this brings up that she's saying this perhaps was a source of contention in her relationships, was her public, and I feel like the way the public wanted her, so much of her and her time. It's really a beautiful deck. That reminds me of the Klimt painting. Okay, so Ace of Pentacles is at the bottom. Yes, I believe she's bringing up work and relationships. She is crowned by the Nine of Pentacles, which is my independent person, but in particularly, a woman is almost always represented in her garden. And she certainly did do well for herself by leaving. I'm sorry she had to leave America, the place that you're supposed to come to have your American dream. Well, I guess that, we understand it, or we should understand a lot more today, that it's pretty specific for, who gets that in this country, and especially back then. No different to now, unfortunately. And I think she's, bringing that up, but she's bringing up her struggle, I think, especially at that time, to be as independent as she was, and a free thinker, a free person. And that's how she thought of herself. And she didn't feel, I'm getting, like she could be free in America, which broke her heart. But ultimately, she was going to go where she could have a life of where she would be accepted, where she could earn and live very well. I mean, who's going to blame her for that? And she was celebrated. She's showing that she chose to go. Lovers is also choices. And I think in leaving America as well, going where she would be celebrated, where she could become financially independent and live quite comfortably and be accepted as a human being and as a woman, and a woman of color. And with this crowning her, she truly is a Renaissance woman. She is truly a woman that is timeless. And my goodness, there's so much to admire about her. In the past, she's showing us the Five of Cups, and this is loss. And I do believe there were relationships that she lost, I think, when she left this country, America. But I think also she's talking about romantic relationships that she went through. And again, I feel like she's talking about the struggle as a woman to do what was her calling, and she was, I think that the time issue becomes a thing, you know, the time to put into her career and relationships, you know, I think it was difficult to keep up all of that. Let's look and see what she's showing us in her, that was in her future. The Knight of Swords, very quickly. So she's talking about, I think too, that she ended up choosing quite quickly. Again, we got choice, and she chooses to go, but I think she is definitely saying it saddened her. And the loss of relationships, and her renouncing her American citizenship. You know, that's a pretty packed statement. And it says a lot, and I totally agree with her. But I think it upset some people in her life, is what she's saying. And also just leaving the country. She had to leave behind what was familiar to her here. But I see that she had great adventure, a great adventuresome kind of a gusto with that Knight of Swords, and away she went. Here we're shown the King of Cups. She's showing us a man in particular, I think, that she was very fond of and may have struggled with relationship-wise. With the Cups, I feel this is a romantic interest of hers, adult, male, of course, and I believe was someone who definitely understood her on an emotional level. I feel like was very supportive. I feel like there was a great fondness between the two of them. And then we're shown a King of Pentacles, a couple of different loves that she had, I believe, in her environment. Now, I am not well-versed in her love life or who she, you know, saw or that history. She has the Three of Wands. And this is about future and about what you can develop and create and have for yourself. And that's what she wanted. She wanted a certain life. And she wanted to have the most that she could in the most positive of ways. You know, this lady was someone that to be admired, in my opinion. I do feel like early in her life, I feel like she had, you know, some exciting affairs, for sure. And she's, I believe, showing us two loves. Yes, and the Nine of Cups. She feels that she had a very satisfying life at the end of it. She was satisfied with her choices and, you know, what she had accomplished. And I will say so. I think that she did choose well. She could have stayed back in fear and held herself back, and she would have never become this courageous French Resistance entertainer and singer and activist. and mother. I mean, this woman's incredible. And it shows great passion to me, great passion for social justice as well. And what, by her own example and what she did, and then what she did during the Second World War to assist France and to help others that were targeted. We are talking a seriously brave woman, a very brave woman of color. And beautiful. Oh my gosh. Nine of Wands. This shows somebody that has been through a difficult time. She's 2 nines. And the Knight of Cups. And is reflecting. She's reflecting back. And on the fullness of her life. But also having to be tough. Having to know her, know boundaries and make other people honor that. And that's not always easy. So, there's this somebody that had experienced difficulty and hardship early on in her life. But I think it gave her the ambition to be as brave as she was. She reflects back on that. Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Yes. She's getting the Star, and this is totally her, this glamour. And she was a star of Paris. She was celebrated, Ace of Cups, passionately loved, and still is. And I think that makes her feel all the more reason that she's satisfied with the path that she chose. And she wants to continue to encourage people to stand up for those that are in danger of losing their voice, who are not given a fair shake. And pursue your dreams. I know that she's saying to all women, but especially to women of color, pursue it, be brave, and I'm with you. Don't forget about me. I'm here. I will call on me. I'm here to guide. She's also with the Star and that Ace of Cups. Still an active guide, But it's just she's on the other side. Let's see if we can get that to autofocus. The Hierophant. This is tradition. Basic ethics that she's showing. And judgment. And she's saying, she's wanting to remind people that claim to be so devout, so religious, that they will be judged for their behavior. And therefore, I believe if there's any part of them that's bigoted, that's nasty, that, they best take another look in the mirror. I'm strongly getting that. Because even if you think that you, especially people that make laws and give people to follow certain things, I feel like she was probably condemned by religious, of course, because she was scandalously clad and whatnot. And I think she is talking about that kind of hypocrisy with these people. And she's saying the people that judged her, well, they've had to undergo judgment for judging her. And I think she's definitely bringing up, they were far more messed up than I ever could have been, which is interesting. She's bringing up, I think, the hypocrisy of some people who claim to be authorities or claim to know what's right and wrong. Might be surprised at the end of the day, is what she's saying here, which is interesting. And we get the Page of Swords, and this is watchfulness. This is being aware. Just kind of the beginning of being mindful. But she's talking about watchfulness and the Ten of Swords with these people. I think she's letting us know some of these people that are high profile, that claim to be so religious, especially with what our country is going through right now. I think she's saying Ten of Swords. They're going to have a painful end. They've caused a lot of misery for people with the Ten of Swords. We're starting to see kind of an end. But I believe she's saying that the era is really drawing to a close for these kinds of people that are so close-minded they leave no room to be objective. And this is activity with they says the Knave of Wands, which is the Page, and the Two of Wands. Yeah, there are choices. And, you know, the Two of Wands can be a contentious energy sometimes between people. You can see the two dogs here. Well, one is a unicorn, and the other looks like a Doberman that has teats full of milk. And they're both tied to two trees. So there's a waiting associated also with this card. But to me, that card also symbolizes, it can be like a sexual tension sometimes between people, but that's not what I'm feeling here. But she is bringing up a beginning, I feel like, of facing some of this contentious racial and gender-based bigotry, or how people identify. I am getting that. She's talking about that. The Three of Pentacles, yes. She's talking about people coming together, working together to change this and to change bigotry. The Five of Wands, yes. This is the strife, this is fighting, this is arguing, this is ugliness. And this is also sometimes a heated conversation that may have to take place. But I see that she's saying that in order to fight, I think, the bigotry that we see so toxic right now, which was similar at her time, she's indicating that we need to come together and realize that we have so much more in common, and that our differences are what make us interesting. And we will accomplish more in coming together and addressing, not allowing this violence and to continue on people of color in particular. and women. Four of Swords. She's using the Princess and the Pea here. And this is peace. This is peace of mind. Oh, but she's also bringing up, this is the gravesite. This is her gravesite of where her body is. She's bringing that up. And the Queen of Swords. She feels so honored. It's pretty kind of a tough-looking card there with this Queen of Swords. But she is a Queen of Swords. So it shows that she feels honored that they are going to put her in November. I didn't even know this, you guys. So reading on her wasn't something I would typically do. I've always loved her. But how weird to find out these details that are significant, that she's going to be reinterred in the I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, the Pantheon there in Paris. Such a prestigious honor. Oh yes, she's showing that with the Ace of Wands. That will be her new beginning of where her body is to rest. And to rest there, the Hangman. And a different perspective. She's saying she's going to have a little different perspective from that place. And she shows the Death card. So I think she is, and look at the flowers, it's very beautiful. I think she is most definitely tipping her hat to her being reinterned in this coming November. And it's kind of like, I'm looking forward to it. And she's celebrating it. She sees it as a great honor to be there. Yeah, look at that. Oh my God, it looks like her too. This is, a new start. So she is celebrating that. The Queen of Wands. And the Devil. Okay, well, she's showing us a lady that's very sexy. I'm feeling this is sexy energy, okay? I don't think necessarily evil, but I could be wrong, so let's just throw down a few more cards. The Four of Cups. This shows boredom. Yeah, really a sense of boredom. And the Seven of Wands. Very strong territory, boundaries. I believe, I don't know if this is somebody that she's going to be interred next to. I'm not quite sure. But I kind of get a feeling maybe, and she's like saying, what an honor. But the Four of Cups shows somebody that's very, here with this Queen, being very, very, very sexual, having a very, and this could be another part of Josephine. But I think that she's saying, no matter what, if you didn't have substance, she wasn't interested. And I think she may have found a good deal of people boring, to be fair. She likes somebody who had confidence and was protective of other people. And I think Josephine herself was very protective, most certainly of other people, of her children. Sounds like she was a really good mom, or put her best foot forward to be. And being in the French Resistance, definitely a passionate person. But this could be someone she's identifying that she might be interred next to. I'm not quite sure. Someone who carried a great burden she's bringing up, but was loyal to the last, with the Knight of Pentacles. And it's an indigenous woman. The fact that, to me anyway, looks like an indigenous woman. And she has indigenous blood, from what I understand, right? Knight of Pentacles. I think this is her, and this is something she identified with. Being true to a cause, and especially times of that were incredibly stressful, and it most certainly was at that time. So I feel like she feels like it's an honor to be in that cemetery, and for her work, not just as an entertainer, but as an activist. And I think that is equally important to Josephine as being remembered as a wonderful entertainer. And it's her civil rights, and that has not ended. You know, her life here ended, but she lives on and she works on the other side. The Wheel of Fortune. Yes. These were lifetimes, and I think she's talking about the cemetery she's going to be in. The lifetimes of the people that are interred there, I think, are very interesting to her. And the help. This is offering help. They helped out to win that war and to keep France safe as they could. And incredible bravery. So she really feels it is an honor to be interred there. And okay, I just want to ask her, I'm just going to shuffle what's left of this deck, and I'm going to just say, is there anything else you want to end out this reading with for today? Anything you want to have us think about? And I'll just draw 2 cards. And I want to thank Josephine. She really came through for me. And I really like this deck. Black Cat. She's talking about limitations that you can put on yourself. Okay? And she's talking about the Tower. Oh, okay, this is powerful stuff. She's saying you believe the Tower is when a facade that you've put a lot of stock in, so to speak, or belief in, comes tumbling down. It can be shocking, sudden, and you have to rebuild with the truth. These limitations here, she's saying, are being, during our era here, during our life here, are being brought down. There will be sudden events coming that really challenge us to change limiting ourselves or self-limiting ideas. I think her situation was one of necessity, and she had to go where success and safety and a good life was, and more power to her, rather than, as I was saying, had she believed in you're no good and you're just this and that. And so she wants people, I think, to understand that any self-limiting thoughts, whether they're imposed by yourself or other people's rubbish, these get blasted away. There's something coming, I think, well, just maybe this era itself is going to be triggering to clear away a lot of false notions that people have based their life on, or that people have just kind of assumed. It shakes them up and makes them get real. And she's talking about, I know I said 2, but I feel like I need one more. That she's talking about understand the truth with clarity. It reminds me of the Monday morning affirmations, the coffee, my new thing, where you're allowing your inner dialogue as you are trying to relax, to flow through, but you don't hold on to it. You don't suppress it either, but you let it go on through. but you don't hold on to it, and you don't say, this is what defines me. You know, this is the realization of what defines you, what is the truth, who you really are. And she's really on about people need to know who they really are, that they're a lot more powerful than they think they are, and that a buy into the words of disempowerment by other people who are projecting their own insecurities and their own fear on them. They're limiting themselves in a way that is detrimental. So she's saying that needs to be clear. You need to people need to re-establish their lives based on more truth, because there's so much nonsense right now with all those stupid conspiracy theories and things that have just gone completely well out of hand. The King of Wands and the Six of Wands. I believe this is action, and that there are people that will be leading us. This shows a male who I believe she's indicating. This says, I can't quite read that, but this is the victor. And this to me is like being your own victor, winning a battle, in that sense of that you rebuild your life in truth and clarity and understanding. And then you succeed because you have healthy confidence. She understood what she was capable of once she did what she did, left for Paris. And I think that gave her a confidence that she retained throughout her life. And I think she wants to share that with other people. And so I want to thank her. And thank you for watching this. And if you appreciate this kind of content, please make sure to like, to subscribe, and share with like-minded people. And so we get Josephine Baker encouraging women, and especially women of color, to not believe in the self-limitations that society has said about them and what other people may have said about them, and women just in general. She wants to encourage us especially, but men too, because this has to be everybody. And she does show a man, but I feel like it's also our activity in getting together with others and continuing to forge the truth and not give way to fears and negative ideas about yourself. And her message is you're capable of so much more than you could ever understand, but you just got to look at your choices and weigh them carefully. And so I want to thank her. All right, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video or live.